Welcome back to the 2025 Deeper Podcast. We're here to help you go deeper in your walk with God as you're walking through this Bible reading plan that we're doing together. And today we're in Hebrews 12. I hope you've enjoyed reading through the book of Hebrews. It is an interesting book. It's an intricate book. It's a complicated book, but it's God's word, and we do have some things we can learn from it. In Hebrews 12, let me read for us the first couple of verses that it starts, because I think it's got some application for us today. Therefore, since we also have such a large cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us lay aside every hindrance and the sin that so easily ensnares us. Let us run with endurance the race that lies before us, keeping our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. For the joy that lay before him, he endured the cross, despising the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. So what does this mean for you today? What does Hebrews 12 mean for us today in mid-2025? Maybe today you're feeling tired. Maybe you're feeling discouraged. Maybe life feels like more of an uphill climb, like you're climbing a mountain. You'll never get to the top. We all get to that point. But here's the encouragement. In the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, the author will say this. Number one, we have a large cloud of witnesses, so we run with others. We run this race with others. You were made for community. You were created for community, and you've got to run with other people, because there are people, like I think about Mount Everest. Now, I would never, I say that, I don't say I would never much, but I've never entertained the idea of climbing Mount Everest. But when you go to climb Mount Everest, you don't go alone. You do it with others, and so we run with others. It says, I want you to remember there's a large cloud of witnesses. So there is a large cloud of witnesses that are the ones that have gone before us that are cheering us on, but we also have people in our lives that are cheering us on. It says, let us lay aside every hindrance. We've got to lay aside distractions. We've got to get our focus back on Jesus and away from all the things that can distract us from a relationship with Jesus. So I guess my question for you today is, what's weighing you down? What are those things that are ensnaring you and entangling you and keeping you from running the race that Jesus wants you to run? Is it a habit? Is it some kind of worry? What is it that's slowing you down? You've got to lay aside the distractions. How do you do that? Well, part of how we do that is with the help of others. But we also have to decide in our own hearts that we're going to lay those distractions down. We're going to get our focus back where it needs to be. And that's the last thing I was going to say. Where does our focus need to be? It needs to be on Jesus. We've got to keep our eyes on Jesus. He says that in verse 2, keeping your eyes on Jesus, who is the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. And then it goes on to say, he had joy, and the joy that he had was going to the cross and despising the shame that he endured, so that we could have faith, so that we could keep our eyes on him. And so remember today what Jesus did for you. Remember that you've got to lay aside distractions. Remember that you've got to keep your eyes on Jesus. There's nothing more that the devil wants today than for you to get your eyes off Jesus. And so if you'll keep your eyes on Jesus, you'll remember what he went through and what he gave for us. It will help you to run the race with endurance. It'll help you to run the race to win. Paul says in another part of the New Testament, he says, we run the race to win. We don't run the race just to run the race. We run the race as if we're running toward the end goal, and the end goal is the prize. What is the prize? The prize is knowing Jesus. So keep your eyes on Jesus, lay aside distractions, and remember we were created to run with others this race that we're in together.